Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this May 5th meeting of the Mojave County Board of Supervisors. If you would join us, Supervisor Gould is going to lead us in an invocation, followed by Supervisor Borelli leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in prayer. Lord, we thank you and praise you today, Lord, for this great nation that you've given us, for this great county that you've given us the authority to run, Lord. Help us to make wise decisions that would reflect your values, Lord. Lord, we have many employees that work in dangerous conditions, Lord. We ask that you put a hedge of safety around them to protect them from any accidents and any harm, Lord, so that they can safely return to the loving arms of their family. In Jesus' name I pray. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which a nation under God, indivisible, liberty, justice.
The Board of Supervisors may by motion recess into executive session to receive legal advice from the Board's attorneys on any item contained in this agenda pursuant to ARS 38-431.03 A3, 4, and 7. Looking for a motion and action to call for an executive session to be held on May 19th, 2025 at 9 a.m. for a discussion and consultation with legal counsel in accordance with ARS 38-431.03 A3, 4, and 9.
So moved.
For that motion. First and second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Official business to come before the board. Discussion of pending or contemplated litigation claims and demands. Attorney Davis.
Nothing to report.
Thank you, sir. Committee and/or legislative reports. Supervisor Latman. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I attended the County Health Board meeting. We went over the mosquito program, the communicable disease stats, and the budget for the health department. So coming soon to a Board of Supervisors near you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Supervisor Borelli.
Nothing to add.
Supervisor Martin.
Yes, I attended the Mount Tipton Trail Day last week in Dolan Springs. I got to speak to the 6th grade class about the history of the Dolan Springs Trail System, which was really interesting. So that was I was out there all day, and it was a lot of fun. Those kids went on a 4-mile hike, and it was a great time, and they got some great volunteers out there. The other thing I got to report is this Friday, the Arizona Game and Fish Commission will be holding their meeting here in the auditorium, and I'll be doing the introductions for them. This is the first time that the commission has been in Kingman in a long, long time, and it should give the opportunity for our residents to ask the Game and Fish Commission about anything they want to hear about. So I think that sportsmen from all over the county ought to be here on Friday morning. Starts at 8 o'clock, and listen to what these folks have to say and what they plan on doing in the future. And that's it.
Thank you, Supervisor. We're glad to have them here and host them as they have their meeting. I don't have anything to report this morning. Lobbyist report from High Ground. Manager Elters, do we have Mr. Ponder with us today?
Yes, we do, Mr. Chairman.
Nick, are you with us?
Mr. Chair, Supervisors, good morning. Thank you again for the opportunity. So we've hit the point in session where the legislature is starting to slow down in how frequently they're meeting. I think that the Senate only plans on meeting one day this week. A long day is expected on Tuesday, but due to some scheduling and issues with not enough of the majority being there, I believe on Wednesday, they'll likely be out the rest of the week. Right now, both bodies are effectively trying to get the remaining bills through that are able to move at this point in time through the respective chambers, and then up to the governor's desk. A lot of the water bills that we have been following as the county have moved up to the governor's desk and have ultimately been vetoed. In fact, the governor's office just 2 weeks ago wrote a pretty direct letter to the veto of, I believe, 7 bills that they vetoed that were all Representative Griffin bills. And the essence of the veto letter was targeted at the fact that Representative Griffin's bills are sort of individualized and very narrow in focus, effectively chipping away at the Groundwater Management Act. When the governor's office and many legislators, included, and then rural elected officials across the state, including our elected officials in Mojave County, elected officials in La Paz County, Coconino, Yavapai, etc., are looking for a more holistic approach to addressing the Groundwater Management Act. And so the governor's veto letter effectively said, we need to take these all into consideration collectively, because as you pull one lever, it could affect the other. And so we cannot just look at these items individualized. So that was a veto letter that got some recognition, at least in the press down here locally in Phoenix. The one water bill that remains out there that we continue to watch is Senator Dunn's Senate Bill 1520, the Rural Groundwater Management Bill. The last time we met, we talked about a meeting of about 40 individuals, of which Supervisor Lingenfelter was a participant, and he quite effectively conveyed Mojave County's challenges with the current bill, not only the Senate Bill 1520, but also the bill that the governor's office supported as well, that our challenges that we had, but with both versions. There have not really been any conversations since then between the governor's office. Effectively, there's been one conversation since then between the governor's office and Senator Dunn and Representative Griffin. There was some insinuation from Representative Griffin that the Mojave County Coalition had not made concessions to our draft. I would just suggest that you can either talk to myself or Supervisor Lingenfelter to discuss the concessions that we made, dating all the way back to when the bill was a rural management area bill, to try and come to what we think is beyond a middle ground solution in this, to seek effective solutions for rural Arizona. So that is where we are at today. I can tell you that I believe that SRP, the electric co-ops, as well as the mines, are seeking to try and amend that bill. I am seeking to get meetings for myself and Supervisor Lingenfelter to meet with legislators to discuss the rural groundwater management bill. Republican legislators in particular, to ensure that the bill doesn't even make its way to the governor's desk. There are a number of legislators in committee and in caucus who articulated that they have significant concerns with the bill as it stands today, and the fact that it continues to allow exploitation of groundwater basins like those that happened in the Hualapai Valley Basin from out-of-state and international actors. And they would like to see those issues addressed before they're willing to support anything on the floor. And so Supervisor Lingenfelter and I are seeking to get those meetings to convey our position on that. The governor's office did go down to the Gila Bend Basin just a little over a week ago to discuss with the San Lucie Indian tribe the impacts of, they'd already been down there to discuss with the community in Gila Bend the impacts of implementing potentially an AMA down there. Now they've gone down and discussed it with the San Lucie Indian tribe. And so they are getting closer to the establishment, I believe, of an active management area in Gila Bend. So the governor's office and the Department of Water Resources are going to use the Groundwater Management Act that exists today if they do not see legislation on the path forward. So that's where we're at. We continue to seek those conversations, seek those opportunities. I do know that with the help of Senator Angus, we're going to try and get Senator Dunn up to Mojave County to tour the Hualapai Basin, to just show him how our economies and how our community is different than maybe some other rural economies and communities. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions for Mr. Ponder? Thank you for the update today. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
County Manager's report.
Good morning, Chairman and board members. Just one item, just for the record. Subsequent to the board meeting, the last board meeting in April 21st, we met with the staff, Mojave County staff, met with the Mojave County Airport Authority chairman to discuss and request Mojave County's desire to have a voting member on the Mojave County Airport Authority's board. Last week, Mr. Osborne, Bill Osborne, responded and informed us that the Mojave County Airport Authority met and plans to expand their board from 5 to 7 members, and plan to include one voting member from Mojave County and one voting member from Bullhead City. We will be seeking guidance from the board to proceed with that appointment, which we anticipate that will be effective in July of this year. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Manager Elters. We do have a presentation today, information regarding the results of the 2025 tax deed auction. Treasurer Mello. Thank you for being here this morning. I just also want to say that we have a time set today at 10 a.m. for a public auction, so I'm not saying that you have to finish by 10, but if it gets to be 10, we'll have to pause for a moment so I can do the auction, and then we'll bring you back.
No problem.
Please proceed.
Good morning, Chairman and Supervisors. We'll start this morning off with some great news from the Treasurer's Office on our tax deed sale. Oops. There. Thank you. Okay, so the 2025 tax deed sale, we took 829 parcels and we sold 824, which is astounding again. So we only have 5 left that'll be sold over the counter at the clerk of the board's office. So that was 99.4% sold, which is the best we've ever done. The total funds received was $2.4 million. $1.65 million went to the general fund. The average winning bid was almost $2,900, which is also a record for us. That's the highest average price paid per parcel. We had an increase, 35% new bidders this year, and we think that's due to our office sending an email out to all the tax lien holders that participate in our tax lien sale. We let them know that there was also a tax deed sale, and we think that's why there was such a high increase in volume and interest this year. Okay, so this tax deed sale is a tremendous amount of work. It involves a lot of different departments. We have the clerk of the board, the treasurer's office, recorder's office, assessor's office, and even IT, and even Supervisor Lingenfelter. He's got to sign all those deeds, so he even has a piece in it, so we appreciate that. We're getting really, really good at the tax deed sale. This is the quickest we've ever completed one this year. We had it all wrapped up by April 17th. So all those parcels are going back on the tax roll. I just want to remind everyone that it's just vacant land. There's no homes, or it's just vacant land. And that's a really good thing. So we're becoming quite proficient at this tax deed sale stuff. we've been keeping track of it, and since we started the tax deed sale, the collection for property taxes going forward with having them back on the tax roll has been almost $751,000 to date. So when we hit 1 million, and I give you the update, we're going to have balloons falling from the sky, rockets going off in the back, right, Clerk Scooble? So we have done just an absolute amazing job with this, and we hope to continue to do that. And with that, does anybody have any questions?
Questions for the treasurer? Well, on behalf of the board, phenomenal work. Yeah, kudos to you and to everybody else, all the departments that were involved in this. This is tremendous.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. That brings us to our consent agenda. Supervisor Martin, would you like to remove any items from consent this morning?
Item 13.
Supervisor Borelli. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Number 18.
Thank you. Supervisor Lettman. And I will not remove any as well, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 5 through 40, minus items 13 and 18.
Second.
That motion and second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman,
Manager Elthers.
if I may, there is one more presentation on the agenda.
Let's see. Oh, okay. I apologize. I just completely overlooked that. So I should get used to these presentations. So, presentation by the Parks Department on financial performance year to date against the plan, projected performance end of year against the plan, and next year budget numbers. Again, thank you for your time. We've got public auction in 10 minutes. If I have to pause you, then we'll bring you back up. Thank you, Steve. Director Latowski.
Thank you, Chairman Lingenfelter. Let's have a single slide to bring up on the screen. Chairman Lingenfelter, members of the board, thank you for this opportunity to present what is the financial performance as well as resiliency of our Mojave County Parks budgets. This is a fund that is an enterprise fund funded entirely by the user fees, the users of the parks, and it comes with me with great pleasure to present to you both our performance in fiscal year 25 as well as a look ahead to FY 26. As you know, Mojave County Parks, through the Public Works Department, operates 2 regional parks as Davis Camp and Walpi Mountain Park, as well as 4 community parks. Davis Camp and Walpi Mountain Park are absolute jewels of Mojave County. In fact, just recently, Walpi Mountain Park had a very impressive article written about it in Islands Magazine for national attention. And when it comes to Davis Camp, because of its sheer size and capacity, Davis Camp has routinely served and carried Mojave County Parks through its revenues. Its revenues has traditionally outpaced its expenditures and has carried Mojave County Parks. But what's really impressive is looking back over the last 15 years. If I take you back 15 years ago, Davis Camp its annual revenue was only about $900,000, Walpi Mountain Park about $300,000. Just before the pandemic, Davis Camp was operating at about $1.5 million annually. And then what happened is, thanks and a great credit to Arizona, both the county and the state staying open for business during the pandemic, there was a massive influx and a massive demand at Davis Camp. We were grossing about $2.2 million a year starting during those pandemic years. Then we moved out of that period, and yes, competition ensued, but we never did return back to the pre-pandemic revenue. We actually had an introduction, so to speak, of Davis Camp to a number of new visitors, and largely those visitors stayed with us, despite the increased competition. So looking at our budget, and I really take you down to that bottom row. The FY 2025 projected budget right now is approximately $1.8 million in revenue, $1.85 million for Davis Camp. And what we're doing is we're looking at that conservatively. You may be aware that we are currently undergoing an ARPA-funded project to replace the Davis Camp dock and launch area that is extremely popular for our summer visitors. And we are working, despite our contractor having through the end of this year yet to complete it, we've been doing everything possible, extending permits, etc., to try to get that dock done by Memorial Day. I can't make any promises, but we have seen quite favorable progress. So we're still, we could see a little bit bump in the revenue over the 1.85 million level. But we still expect for FY26 to return north of $2 million. And again, that would be substantially above the pre-pandemic revenues, and a credit to our fantastic staff, Tim Simon, the superintendent down there, and of course, Jeremy Palmer, our park superintendent, really engaging and sustaining our customer base down at Davis Camp. And not to be overlooked, Wallapai Mountain Park as well has that opportunity to get back towards that even level. So in summary, over our entire parks budget, we currently have about $1 million cash on hand that provides for about 4 months operation and maintenance. Cash on hand for operation and maintenance, 4 months cash burn for that. So we look at FY25 projected to arrive about $150,000 positive, and that will actually go towards as well as payment of the $75,000 to Mojave Valley Community Park amount that's owed at the end of FY25 as well as FY26. So we'll be able to still keep our $1 million. And in FY26, we're looking ahead towards balancing our budget, mainly around operations and maintenance. We have a robust capital plan. We have a couple of water phases yet to finish at Davis Camp, but by and large, the park is, and I credit to all the staff, the park fund itself is really in financially really sound shape. Open up to any question.
Any questions for Director Latowski?
I have some.
Supervisor Letman.
Director Latowski, I give your staff a lot of patience. I think my second office is at Davis Camp now. So I'm in there 2 to 3 times a week, as they know. I really appreciate your taking the, accepting the invitation to come down and talk about this. So this is just, to me, an example of a job well done. I mean, we just heard from the treasurer about an extremely well done job, okay? But this is remarkable. So if I understood this correctly, reading your slide, you projected in the FYI 25 budget that Davis Camp would do revenue of 1.6 with expenses of about 1.4. But in fact, you're going to come in at a revenue of almost 1.85 and expenses lowered by 200,000. So instead of generating 223,000 towards the enterprise fund for the parks, Davis Camp's now projected to contribute $684,000. That is a job well done. Okay, and everybody on that staff should be complimented for that. A couple of questions. What would it take to get Hualapai Mountain Park to break even, do you think?
We actually met that break-even point a couple of years ago during the pandemic period, but at this point, we see an opportunity to perhaps move forward with advancing our Sawmill RV Park, which has been completely designed. We have in the FY26 budget capital initiative for $35,000 for an environmental study so that we can start pursuing federal funding. The only appeal with Sawmill is it's a complement to our existing RV park, which is in very, very high demand during the summer, and it would not require any additional staffing resources. So we would have potentially another revenue generator with no additional staffing.
Okay, so break even is in the foreseeable future.
Well, Sawmill would be quite an undertaking. It'd be a phased project to development. So I would say that'd be more of a medium term development.
Okay, and I just want to be sure, when we're looking at the numbers, there's no county fairground numbers mixed into any of this at all, correct?
That's
okay.
Completely separate enterprise fund.
And then what do you think is the appropriate level for the parks contingency fund?
Chairman Lingenfelter, Supervisor Letman, I do see about the $1 million level, which provides for 4 months of operation in lieu of no revenue whatsoever. of the park.
Okay, so obviously I would like to see some of the excess revenue out of Davis Camp put back into Davis Camp.
Mhm.
Okay, which generates it, so we can generate even more in the future. Is there obviously not in our fiscal 26, but I'm assuming in fiscal 27 we can start talking about excess revenue generated out of Davis Camp staying in Davis Camp.
Chairman Lingenfelter, Sir, as Allotment, I think that's a very plausible approach. And I will also say with regard to Walpi Mountain Park, most of the capital initiatives that we have pursued over the years have always been more organic, grant-driven initiatives, with the exception of the random vehicle replacement, et cetera. But Davis Camp has generally benefited from the actual investments of excess.
Again, just terrific job, well done.
Any other questions? Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate it. It looks like we've got about 30 seconds until 10 o'clock, so. In accordance to statute, so this public auction is one parcel described as Riverview Commercial Lot APN 220-08010, located at 1310 Riverview Drive in Bullhead City, Arizona. In accordance with statute, staff has told me that initial bid or starting bid has to be 90% of the appraised value, which in this case is going to be $19,800 will be the starting bid. It is now 10 o'clock, so I'm going to open up the public auction. Do I have a bid for $19,800? You, sir, in the front? Thank you. We have one bid for $19,800. Do we have any higher bid? Anyone want to bid higher than $19,800? Going once. We currently have one bid for $19,800. Going twice. Any other bids? $19,800 going three times. Sold for $19,800. Thank you, sir. Now, back to the consent. Supervisor Martin, you pulled item 13.
Yes, I noticed on this that there was quite a bit of dissension amongst the planning and zoning, and I wondered if Mr. Holtree could explain why there was such a discrepancy among the board members on that particular item.
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Martin, this item is a rezone from a 6-acre minimum to a 1-acre minimum lot size. There's several other lot sizes similar to this zoning in the vicinity. The applicant was not in attendance at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and the commissioners had a few questions. They wanted to know how the lot's going to be split up, how they're going to have legal access, and they weren't. The applicant wasn't there to address those concerns. Ultimately, it did get approved by the commission. It was a 6-4 vote.
Was the applicant notified adequately that, he needed to be there because there could be questions asked of him?
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Martin, yes, we do let the applicant know that they are required to be at the meeting. I guess it's not necessarily required to be at the meeting, but we let them know that they should be at the meeting to answer any questions that the commission may have. We did call the applicant as well after the meeting to let them know that they should be at this meeting as well. And then they did state that they would be here. I don't know if they are or not.
Okay.
Is the applicant here? Doesn't look like it. Okay. It's the pleasure of the board.
In light of the fact that the applicant has not responded, and there's obviously questions that need to be answered on this. I think, I understand that we don't require them to be there, but I think on behalf of the county and our interests, if our planning and zoning or this board has questions, if they're not here, we can't answer it. And I think the questions that were brought up during the planning and zoning meeting, potentially that they wanted to ask, were important. And if the applicant was notified after that planning and zoning meeting that they needed to be here at this meeting to answer questions, and they're not here, I'm thinking that for us to approve it without these questions being answered is probably not the right way to go. So I'm going to make a motion to deny.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair.
I heard a lot of Mr. Chairs. Who came first? Attorney Davis?
Mr. Chair, the board has a number of options here before there's a flat denial, because then they won't be able to come back.
Could you continue it?
We could continue it to another board meeting, or you could send it back down to the Planning and Zoning Commission for them to continue investigating. They'd have their own thing and it'd come back.
Thank you for that. Supervisor Martin, would you like to do one of those instead?
I'll change that. I'll make a motion. We send it back to planning and zoning and make sure that the applicant is very much aware that he needs to at least be there. He doesn't have to physically be there. That's the thing. In today's modern technology thing, the guy can call in and just be available to answer questions, and I think that's reasonable. So I'll make the motion that we take it back down to planning and zoning, and let's start this process all over again.
Second.
Mr. Chair.
That motion is second. Director Holtree.
I just want to mention one thing. One thing that I did mention to the Planning and Zoning Commission in the meeting was the questions that they did have would be addressed in the conditions that we place on the rezone. So how the parcel is going to be split, we make them do a parcel plat, how it's going to have legal access. We state in the conditions that it has to have that legal access. That's why 6 of them did vote to approve it. I just wanted to throw that out there, just so you know.
We have a motion and second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. Thank you. Item number 18, Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I pulled this off the consent calendar not to really look at any of the donations that are there, and I want to thank the people that did donate to the library for their donation. But I think we need to take a look at the amounts here. One of the things we're authorizing is $2 for a stack of paper and $2 for a box of cornstarch. We might want to put a low, or when we take a donation above a particular level, and give that lower level authority to the director of the library. I'm not concerned about cornstarch or paper. And we've had trouble at the Golden Shores Library that the people want to donate things. They wanted to donate construction paper and decorations for St. Patrick's Day, and they were unable to do that because we couldn't move it through our process in the time that they allotted. So I think we should take a look at giving the director the authority to approve those kind of lower level donations without them having to go through the cumbersome process of bringing it to them.
Absolutely. It sounds process over result if there ever was something like that.
Would we want to direct staff to take a look at that?
Yeah, I think that's allowable under the motion. Is that right, Attorney Davis?
I believe it is, and even if the board doesn't direct it, we'll take a look at it.
So I'm going to move to approve item 18 and direct staff to take a look at changing our donation process.
Thank you for that. You've heard that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. Thank you. Item number 41 is our first public hearing this morning. Discussion and possible action regarding denial of BOS resolution number 2025-74, a rezone of assessor's parcel number 32602-156 from an A general zone to a CMO commercial manufacturing open lot storage zone to allow for a storage facility in the Dolan Springs vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended denial by a 9-1 vote. I'm going to open up the public hearing. We have the applicant, Mr. Darren Reed, here to speak. If you come to the podium, Mr. Reed. We'll give you 3 minutes. If you just state your name and your address for the record for our clerk. Thank you very much.
My name is Darren Reed, P.O. Box 697, Dolan Springs, Arizona. I mainly wanted to come because I looked up the reason they denied it or voted to deny it in the commission, and it was because I was not here. I had a family emergency just 5 minutes before I was pulling out to come to the meeting. I just wanted to put that out there. And then we also currently already have a storage facility in the lot right in front of this parcel that we're trying to get rezoned. So I feel like there's a need for that outside storage. That's all I have. That's a question.
Thank you, sir. If we need to have you come back after we close the public hearing, we'll certainly do that. We're not allowed to comment during public hearing. Is there anybody else here wishing to speak on item number 41? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Open it up to discussion. Pleasure of the board. Supervisor Burley.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we can bring Mr. Holtry up.
Yes, Director Holtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Holtry. What was the planning and zoning? Did they give a reason, justification for denial?
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Borelli, there wasn't a whole lot of discussion on this item. I went back and rewatched the video as well. Mainly, the major concern was that it was going from a lesser zone to a more intense zone, was the discussion by Commissioner Martin, and then they took a vote right after that. Staff, when we presented it, when we looked at this item, we looked at the general plan for the area along Pierce Ferry Road. It's a corridor of all general commercial right along that section of Pierce Ferry Road. There is commercial in the vicinity, like the applicant said. Directly in front of this parcel is a commercial facility, is a commercial storage facility. There is other commercial manufacturing in the vicinity as well. So when staff presented it to the commission, it is proper for consideration. There wasn't a whole lot of discussion by the commissioners other than they felt like it was increasing the intensity of that zone.
Supervisor Martin.
Thank you. Just for the record, I want to state that Supervisor Martin on the planning and zoning and I are not related in any way, form, or fashion.
Commissioner Martin.
I know I had heard somebody made a comment, was that your wife? And I went, no, that's not. So I just want to get that on the public record. We are not related in any form or fashion. So how I feel about this and how she feels about it are probably two different things.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gould.
If you look on the map, that parcel abuts two commercial properties on two of the four sides. It's everything kind of set on a diagonal right there on Pierce Ferry Road. I was puzzled why they would deny this one, and then if you look at the next one, it's pretty similar. But they approved the next one but denied this one.
Mr. Chair, the applicant was not able to attend, and I think that probably didn't help. I did print the map as well. If you're not able to find it in your backup, I have it up on the screen. So
the map that's on the screen, that's the general plan map.
So that's the general plan that's showing the red. The zoning is the letters. So you have A zone, which is a commercial zone. It's commercial and residential. It's our general zone. But the C2H is directly adjacent, and then you have a CM, which is the exact same zone in the nearby vicinity.
What does the red stripe along both sides of Pierce Ferry Road represent?
That represents the land designation in the general plan for general commercial.
Okay, so the general plan states that this is commercial?
Correct, and that's why it would be in compliance with the general plan.
So it doesn't require a change to the general plan, an amendment to the general plan then?
Correct.
Any additional discussion, or ready to entertain a motion? Supervisor Borelli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Was there any opposition showing up at planning and zoning against this property?
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Borelli, there was no opposition.
Supervisor Martin.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
For that motion, second, any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. Thank you. We're going to open up the public hearing on item number 42, discussion and possible action, denial of BOS Resolution 2025-75, a rezone of assessor's parcel 306259E from an AR 2A agricultural residential 2-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for minor land division in the Golden Valley vicinity. Mojave County, Arizona Commission recommended denial by unanimous vote. We have one person signed up to speak, Mr. Chris Mauser. Come down to the podium, please. State your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Chris Mauser. I live at 656 Spring Circle in Golden Valley. Unfortunately, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to speak. I wasn't able to attend the meeting, and I appreciate Mr. Bradshaw thinking that I was able to build a subdivision, I guess, but I don't really think I have money for that. My plan is just to split this parcel into 2 lots and hopefully build 2 houses so my daughter could live next door to me. That's all my plans are for it. He mentioned things being 5 acres, it being a 5-acre subdivision, which I wasn't really sure about because it's only a 2-acre parcel. So I was a little confused. Unfortunately, I had to work that day and I just couldn't get off, and I had to go to Phoenix, so I couldn't call in or do anything like that. So I appreciate you guys listening to me, and that's really my plan. I'm not trying to sneak in a subdivision like he was suggesting. I do appreciate that he thinks I can, but can't. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak on item number 42? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. I'm going to open it up to the board. Supervisor Martin.
Yeah, I looked at this, and I think there was maybe some confusion on this thing because the applicant couldn't be there again. And again, something that I think I recognize is that, it would be nice if everybody could attend these meetings and answer these questions, but sometimes it's just not possible because of family emergencies or whatever. I think I'd like to send this back like we did the last one. Send it back and let them look at them. Let the applicant, it sounded like maybe one of the commissioners had a misinterpretation of what the applicant's considering, and I think we ought to nail that down before it comes back for our approval. So I'd make a motion that we kick it back down to planning and zoning and look at it again and let him, possibly be there to answer any questions that Commissioner Bradshaw or any other commissioner has. So I make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Additional discussion. Director Holtry, do you want to come up to the podium, please?
Mr. Chair, Supervisors, I printed this map as well. The parcel in question, you can see, is highlighted. It was subdivided some time ago. I think in the 90s. They did not a subdivision, but they divided it with a cul-de-sac. So you can see in the map that we have here that it almost looks like it was done with a subdivision, but it wasn't. It was just a minor land division back in the 90s. The commissioners brought up the question that it looked like it was already a subdivision. Why are we splitting it more? The staff responded with that it's not a subdivision. It was just a minor land division, and there are similar zoning directly adjacent to it. Just to the south, they have AR zoning as well. This would be allowing this parcel to do the same thing that is directly south of them for the AR zone.
Thank you for the additional information.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Holtry, so clearly since this was done in the 90s, it's not an issue of the landowner trying to skirt the subdivision rules.
You are correct. Yeah, it's not.
Thank you, sir.
Point. Other comments? Any other discussion? We have a motion and second. Madam Clerk, would you reread that for us, please?
Apologize.
I think that was to refer that back to the Planning and Zoning Commission,
Yes.
Supervisor Martin.
To clarify that.
Thank you.
Did you want to hear from the applicant at all, or do we just, we do have a motion and a second, so we can,
Would it be appropriate for him to come back, or we?
yeah,
pass that?
we're in additional discussion right now, so if you'd like to hear from him, you can
Yes, I
absolutely
would.
bring him up to the podium. Sir, would you come back up to the podium? Thank you, Mr. Mauser. Go ahead,
Sir,
Rick.
could you clarify what your intentions are for that property for this reason, for purposes of rezone?
Yeah, so.
Would you speak into the microphone, please?
Oh, sorry. I just bought this parcel maybe a couple months ago, and I want to split it because I'm hoping to build my daughter a house next door so that when I get older, she can take care of me.
You have no intention of doing a development there?
No, I don't have the money for that.
Okay. With that, I would amend my motion to say
Let me see if,
we can do that.
Supervisor Gould, you want to withdraw your
Release my
second? Okay, and you want to revise your motion?
Yes, I approve, motion to approve.
No, so you motion to deny the denial, is that correct?
Mr. Chair, if I may assist in the motion.
Please do, Attorney Davis.
Vote to approve the application, the rezone application. A motion to approve the rezone application.
Yes, that's the motion.
Okay,
Second.
for that motion second, everybody's clear. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All
Thank you.
opposed?
Appreciate it.
Vice Chair to have it, do have it so ordered. I believe,
Chairman Lingenfelter.
yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can we go back to item 41?
I was just
because-
going there.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
that we had the similar something go on, right? So we need to have a motion for reconsideration,
Correct,
right?
correct. And then motion to approve the application, just to make sure that we're,
Same issue.
yes.
So first we'll do the motion for reconsideration. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And now, a new motion. I think Supervisor Martin, do you want to make that motion?
Yeah, with,
Approve the application? Is that
Yes.
what it needs to be?
yes.
Okay, so we have that new motion. Do we have a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Vice Chair to have it, do have it so ordered. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, just on when we have a denial and the way that we put it on the agenda, if I'm not mistaken, we do write the resolution as if it is an approval. And so if you just approve the resolution, then it should be okay as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. We're going to open up the public hearing on item number 43, discussion and possible action, approve the adoption of BOS Resolution 2025-76, an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a rural development area land use designation to a suburban development area land use designation and a rezone from an AR2A zone to an AR zone for for assessors parcel 217-03132 to allow for a minor land division in the Golden Valley vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended approval by unanimous vote. We have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on item number 43? Anyone in the audience wishing to provide public comment on item number 43? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing on item number 43. I'm going to open it up to the board's discussion. What's the pleasure of the board? Supervisor Martin, this is your district. Would you like to hear from Director Haltry, or
Yes.
Director Haltry, would you come up to the podium, please?
Director Holtry, if you can, or if you would, just explain the difference between those two those zoning requests.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Martin. So this is going from an AR2A, which is a 2-acre minimum lot size, and then it's going to just an AR, which is a 1-acre minimum lot size. This typically, it didn't receive any opposition from anybody that was a neighboring property owner. The commission recommended approval unanimously. The reason why it's on a public hearing is because it's also having to amend the general plan. And anytime we amend the general plan, we need to put it on a public hearing. But there was no opposition, and the commission recommended approval unanimously.
So with your staff is okay with this, what's being proposed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. With that, I would make a motion for approval.
All right, thank you. You've heard that motion and second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. We're going to open the public hearing on item number 44. Discuss and possible action, approve the adoption of BOS Resolution number 2025-077, an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a low-density residential land use designation to a general commercial land use designation, and a rezone from an AR agricultural residential zone to a C2H commercial highway commercial zone for assessors parcel 305-06161 to allow for offices and commercial development in the Golden Valley vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended approval by unanimous vote. We have no one that's signed up to speak. Is there anyone in the office that would wish to speak on item number 44? Call one last time. Anyone wish to speak on item number 44? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board? Supervisor Martin, this is your district. Would you like to hear from Director Holtry?
I received no opposition. In mind, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
For that motion second, any additional discussion? Hearing none? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. We're going to open the public hearing on item number 45. Discussion and possible action. Approve the adoption of BOS Resolution 2025-78, an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a rural residential land use designation to a suburban residential land use designation, and a rezone from an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR 2A agricultural residential 2-acre minimum lot zone for assessors parcel 331-1523 to allow for a minor land division in the Kingman vicinity. Mojave County, Arizona Commission recommended approval by a 6-4 vote. We have no one signed up to speak for public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to provide comments, testimony on item number 45? Item number you can provide 3 minutes of comments if you'd like, or you'd state your name and address for the clerk, please.
My name is Kurt Jukes, 2565 Calle Allende in Kingman. That's about 2 miles directly south of this property. Just wanted to clarify that, or at least note, even though it says we're doing a 2-acre, we are actually doing only 4 of the 16.5 acres is 2-acre lots. The other 3 4-acre lots. And actually, my brother that's in attendance is the owner of the property. We're dividing that to build his own residence, plus possibly some for our kids. Everything else seems to comply, and we are here for questions.
We can't take questions during public hearing.
Right.
If we have questions, we'll call you back up. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on item number 45? If not, I'll close the public hearing and open it up to the board. Director Holtry, you want to come up to the board and provide a summary?
Mr. Chair, Supervisors, thank you. This item had some questions from the commission. Commissioner Bradshaw thought that we were kind of creeping into the more rural area of Kingman and wanted to kind of keep the smaller lot sizes to the south. I did print this map as well. So it's the highlighted parcel, and directly to at the east, there's some 4-acre parcels that are lower than the 5-acre rural designation that's in that area. Directly south is the 2-acre minimum lot sizes. When staff was looking at this proposal or application, we did find it proper for consideration and did not have any issues with the proposed rezone. The commissioners had several discussions on that it was creeping in more north with these smaller parcels, and they weren't a fan of that, I believe. But other than that, there was no opposition from any of the neighbors.
Thank you for that information. Supervisor Borelli.
So just to be clear, this is going to reduce it down to 2-acre parcels?
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Borelli, yes, it would allow for the 2-acre minimum. They could not create more than 5 parcels. With the rezone, if you go above 5 parcels, then it turns it into a subdivision, which we have requirements from the state that we have to follow on, though.
This makes it compatible, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Holtry, this makes it compatible to the neighboring properties?
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Borelli, that's correct.
Supervisor Martin.
I have not received any communications from any of the neighbors also or the neighbors adjacent to this request, so therefore I'll make a motion that we approve.
Heard that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it so ordered. That was our last public hearing. That's not true. 46, 47. 47. Under public
46.
hearing. Discussion possible. We're going to open the public hearing on number 46. Approve the extinguishment of Sun Development LP, owner of APN 354-37074H, being in Township 21 North, Range 14 West, Section 29, described as a 10-foot wide by 862-foot long, more or less, which contains 0.2 acres, more or less, public utility easement, reserved with Mojave County Board of Supervisors Resolution 88-26, recorded in Book 1418, pages 461, 462, and 463, as reception number 88-15077, dated April 19th, 1988, along with a 20-foot wide by 172-foot long, more or less, which contains 0.08 acres, more or less, as shown per Mojave County official records, being parcel E-3 of parcel plat 002-003, fee number 82-2766, filed May 6, 1982, and adopt resolution number 2025-81 to approve said extinguishment as provided in ARS 28-7214. We have no one signed up to speak during public comment, or excuse me, public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on number 46? Public hearing. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing on number 46. What's the pleasure of the board? Director Holtry, can you come up and, or excuse me, Director Latosky. Thank you, Director.
This action, Chairman Lingenfelter, members of the board, this action concerns the extinguishment of a 10-foot easement, public utility easement that bisects the subject property, as well as an easement that extends along a short section of the southerly area of the property. We noticed, Public Works noticed the utilities in the area. None of them came back with any objections. Staff is recommending approval.
It's a pleasure of the board.
Motion approved.
For that motion and second, any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. Thank you. Public hearing. This is our last public hearing. Discussion and possible action, approve repealing portions of Mojave County Ordinance 2007-08 regarding pet shops and dog groomers.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gould.
This did not get noticed in the newspaper.
Did not.
So I don't know if we need a motion to continue this or Is it administrative?
Attorney Davis?
Better safe than sorry to do a motion to the June 2nd,
Thank you for that.
2025.
Move that this item be continued to the June 2nd Board of Supervisor meeting.
I apologize. As a point, I do believe we have 2 people here who have signed up to speak on this. Attorney Davis, would they still be allowed to speak?
That's up to the discretion of the chair, but we have no legal changes there are no changes attached to the backup for consideration, my understanding. So
If it hasn't been properly noticed, is it appropriate to have people speak, or I'm going on your guidance here, Mr. Attorney?
Since it's not publicly noticed, like Supervisor Gould said, call to the public would be appropriate. There's nothing
Better for them to address this at call to the public today,
or if they have the same comments when this is properly addressed on June 2nd.
Okay, very good. We'll do that then. Scotty McClure and Jennifer Esposito, if you would include the comments you had on this item during call to the public, we'd appreciate it. We do have a motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it so ordered. Thank you for that. Item number 48, receive legal advice from the Board of Supervisors attorney and consider the county's position regarding the 2 lease agreements between Mojave County and Mojave County Airport Authority and instruct the board's attorney regarding any actions to take regarding the leases. Open to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Supervisor Gould.
I move that the county attorney's office implement the direction given in executive session.
For that motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it so ordered. Thank you. Item number 49, discussion possible action remove and not proceed against Albertsons, KVK Tech, Tri-Pharma as defendants in the multi-jurisdictional opioid lawsuits. Open it up to a motion.
Motion to approve.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it so ordered. Item number 50, policy related to items being placed on the Board of Supervisors agenda that are continued. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Recently, we had an agenda item that required the board's action regarding the voter list. That the board moved to continue that item. When the recorder found out she didn't need our signature on an IGA, that was then removed from our agenda. I think that was wrong, because I believe if you bring it to the Board of Supervisors, we should be able to carry that through. A couple of us members wanted to have a discussion on whether we should keep our own record, which we're entitled to do. That discussion was never able to be had, and the money is now already spent and out the door. But we need to take a look at our rules, and if there's an item on our agenda, it's the chairman's agenda. If an item goes on there and it gets continued because we require more information, it should not then be removed by anybody except for the chairman. What we should probably do is instruct staff to work on a rule change that would reflect that. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Any additional discussion, or entertain a motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gould.
I move that the board direct this staff to take a look at a rule change to reflect when an item is placed on the agenda and continued, that it is put back on the agenda for the supervisor's action and only to be removed by the chairman.
For that motion and second, any additional discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it so ordered. Item number 51, discussion possible action, approve waiving the building use fees at the Mojave County Fairgrounds for an event hosted by the Desert Road Riders on May 11th, 2025 from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Desert Road Riders to pay all required insurance coverage and be responsible for security measures and the cost of the event. Supervisors, I was contacted by a group that asked that we put this on the agenda, that the District 1 office put this on the agenda just to make their case. I told them that we can't guarantee what the outcome is, but at least that I would put it on the agenda. So, Mr. William Garvey, if you want to come up, we have a couple people that want to state their case.
Did you need my address?
Name and address, please.
William Garvey, 4845 Christie Drive, Kingman, Arizona. Chairman Lingenfelter, honorable supervisors, representatives of Mojave County. Thank you for this opportunity to present my request. Originally, I wished to come before you and request that the county waive any fees related to the building rental at the county fairgrounds for our cause. As a proud and active member of Mojave County, along with others, I wish to have a live celebration of life for a friend, Duke Beckhart, who for over 18 years portrayed the role of Santa Claus to thousands of families across Mojave County. Those areas obviously were Kingman, Dolan Springs, Chloride, and Bullhead. Duke passed away on April 28th of this year before I could come before you and make this request. In short, I again stand before you and thank you for the consideration of this request. However, I'm retracting it and thank you in advance.
Thank you, sir. I don't think it requires action if it's being retracted. Scotty McClure, you're signed up. Do you want to speak?
Scotty from Bullhead. Since he's retracted it, I didn't know what this was about either. This is somebody that probably does deserve a parade, etc. This is the second one that's come up here in the last month or two that they were trying to waive fees for the fairgrounds use. And I don't think we should do that at all. The last one was such a fiasco, and you guys did shoot it down. But this one here, I would have actually voted yes to approve it. So since it's been retracted, there's nothing really to... I hope they have it somewhere. You know, maybe not. Maybe they can drive through the fairgrounds and that's it or whatever, but hope they have it somewhere.
Thank you. All right, no action on that. Thank you again, Mr. Garvey, for coming up. Item number 52 has been pulled by staff. We'll go to item number 53, discussion and possible action, approve adding $10,000 to next year's budget to pay for a structural evaluation and testing for hazardous materials at the abandoned church at Davis Camp. We have one person signed up to speak. Let's just get through that first. Mr. McClure, do you want to come back up to the podium and speak on item number 53?
Scotty from Bullhead. I don't know why this isn't just in the budget approval instead of this Rick putting this on the agenda to kind of a political move. Pat himself on the back. It's got asbestos in it probably. You can probably tell what's in there by the age of the darn thing. Whether it's got lead pipes, iron pipes, whatever, copper pipes. I'll guarantee you, I rebuilt 7 schools up in Humboldt County in California. And we knew just by the age of it. Now we had to bid this out, and you're going to find asbestos in that place. And the closest place you're going to find is probably Phoenix, because there's nobody in Bullhead that does asbestos removal. Quite a process. I've been involved in 7 schools, and boy, did it cost us money. The 10 grand ain't going to cover the cost of their mileage. So I don't know why this isn't brought up in the, or why the county doesn't pay for this, or Bullhead, or whatever. They've been talking about bulldozing it anyway. It's an eyesore. Oh, it's an old building, so it's cool, according to the Chamber of Commerce. But that's another story. But this should be done in the budget process, not on the agenda here.
Supervisor Letman, this is your item.
Okay, so what this is about, we saw earlier today the presentation on the financials for the Parks District, which looks really good, and it's part of our focus on Davis Camp. We have an old church there and the board has some pictures of it on there. That was the former St. Margaret and Mary Catholic Church, later converted into the Colorado River Museum. There are at least 2 private donor groups that are interested in funding renovations to this building. And again, private donor groups, not public money, that are interested in renovating this building and turning it into a possible cultural arts center. One of the donor groups, before they move forward, would like some kind of certification that, first of all, the building's savable, usable, and second of all, that there are not hazardous materials in the building before they would get more serious about discussing funding agreements for the building. That's what this is about.
Questions from the board?
And I would move for approval of item 53 as read.
Okay. Director Latowski, you want to come to the podium, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Latowski, if we were to demolish this building, we would probably have to investigate whether it contained hazardous material.
Chairman Lingenfelter, Supervisor Gold, that would be correct, yes.
So anything that we're going to do with this would require this study, I assume.
Yes, any renovation of sorts would require at least the asbestos and the lead testing. And I should also point out that there is a program through ADEQ whereby the county can apply for a no-cost hazmat study of the building. That is the approach that we would take. It's the approach we have taken with the Law and Justice Center with the existing historic courthouse.
Excellent point.
And the structural evaluation, however, and I give credit to procurement, they maintain a list of a robust list of qualified consultant engineers, and we would look for that list, and that would be the one aspect that would require a cost.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
So my motion.
Supervisor, okay. Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it. Thank you. All to the public pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H. A public body may make an open call to the public during a public meeting, subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions to allow individuals to address the public body on any issue within the jurisdiction of the public body. At the conclusion of an open call to the public, individual members of the public body may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the public body, may ask staff to review a matter, or may ask that matter be put on a future agenda. However, members of the public body shall not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly notified for discussion and legal action. We have 3 members signed up. First is Stephen Robinson.
Stephen Robinson, Golden Valley resident for many years. My family's been in the Golden Valley area since the mid-'80s. First off, I want to compliment the board today. I've seen some really good decision-making by the board that is consistent with the law and with principles of common sense. On item, 11 and 13 and 11 and 18, I think it was, or 13 and 18, I thought those were good decisions. I think the decisions on 41 and 42 were also good decisions. I'm going to read to you ARS 811, Part A, part of Part A, and and all of C. Pursuant this article, the Board of Supervisors may adopt zoning ordinance in order to conserve and promote the public health, safety, convenience, and welfare. Key sentence now. The zoning ordinance and all rezonings and all zoning regulations amendments adopted under this article shall be consistent with and conform to the adopted general plan. Then C says, in accordance with Article 2, Sections 1 and 2 of Constitution of Arizona, the board shall consider individual property rights and personal liberties of the residents of the county before adopting any zoning ordinance. Right now, the board is considering a general plan, or will be considering the general plan approval. In that plan, they take away the whole 10-mile strip of Highway 68 and turn almost all of it into 1 acre minimum, destroying commercial development. And as I was told by the director of the department, Well, the people that show up and speak the most, the loudest, squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, I will be promising that I'm going to get a list I'm going to contact all the owners of 10 acres or more in that strip and have them be aware to appoint someone to be speaking on their behalf. Because what I think the general plan will do maybe what is called a taking, where you're taking value from the property because they bought the value when it was a lot greater. And if you approve taking that 10-mile corridor and turn it into suburban 1 acre minimum from what it currently is, which is mostly commercial, low density residential, medium or high density residential under urban development. So I hope when we get down to the actual approval, you'll see that there's far more people that support keeping it as it is. They just don't come to the meetings because a lot of them live out of town and out of state, and they don't hear about what the board is planning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Scotty McClure.
Scotty from Ballhead. On this 10 grand you just gave away, per se, on number 53, why don't you just put it out for bid? You need to bulldoze this place anyway. This should not, there's a traffic hazard by you turning in there anyway. Both ways, you're going to have a left-hand turn and a right-hand turn. We're down there spending millions of dollars on putting in turns right now as we speak. They're doing Mojave High School where they'll have a third lane. And you're going to add some, it's always been a traffic hazard there when they had it open before. Just bid it out, get rid of the asbestos, and then they can come in with their another whatever these people that don't pay taxes, whatever. There's too many of those in town as it is. Yeah, you confused me on this. We're sure getting a lot of water bills vetoed. Why are we paying $8 grand a month to high ground? Anybody? Oh, you can't answer questions. Now, Sonny Borelli, I talked to you here last meeting about the holograms. I'd really like to see you put that on my ballot. I remember back when I served in the Army in 67 through 70. I wasn't allowed to vote until I was 70 years old, or excuse me, I guess I'd be voting now, huh? I wasn't allowed to vote until I was 21, even though I was wearing a uniform. Wasn't allowed to go in and have a beer. I think if I had a uniform on, I should have been able to go in the bar and have a beer in uniform. But I'd like to see these holograms put on the agenda here and discuss again. I know we had this discussion a few years ago when Sonny was here with the senator from Flagstaff. I'd like to see our county be the first to put holograms. I don't care if you just put one on their identifying mark. I'd feel better. I've been voting since I turned 21. And I'd feel better about my vote now. I don't trust my vote anymore. I'd like to see Mojave County be the first one to put holograms on their ballot. To hell with Phoenix. They don't do nothing anyway because they're, you got Tucson down there. Put the holograms on our ballots.
Jennifer Esposito.
Thank you, Jennifer Esposito, Kingman. May I request additional time to address item 47?
I'll give you a couple more minutes.
Thank you very much. Okay, first I would like to say that I suspect that Mr. Robinson's objections to the general plan have something to do with the 10-acre parcel he has fiduciary interest in that's just south of Highway 68 off of Teddy Roosevelt near Ships Estates. So there's probably a conflict of interest there. Second, I would quickly like to address and read a statement sent to me by Mr. Walter Spar of Havasu, which states, A grand jury contact link will be established in the Mojave Free Press, May 15th edition, in the column where all public officials are identified with their contact information. The link will open with a list of procedures required to comply with by any citizen wishing to report crimes directly to the Mojave grand jury. A downloadable form will be provided for the citizen to fill out. The form will be sent to a grand jury post office box. The grand jury will review the form and decide whether they want to proceed with the citizen's evidence. Before the citizen sends the form to the grand jury, the citizen will be required to have already sent it to and been denied or rejected by the local police department. If the police department sends the information to the county attorney and it has been denied or rejected by the county attorney, only then the citizen will send the information to the grand jury. The information sent to the grand jury will be with a self-addressed and stamped envelope for the grand jury to inform the citizen of the grand jury's decision. Thank you for allowing me to read Mr. Spar's statement. The next thing I would like to address is the water issue. I believe it was in the January issue of the Mojave Free Press that I showed that the Hilltop wastewater treatment plant that the city of Kingman uses is not using the injection well that Chairman Lingenfelter informed me the city spent over $1 million on. This was in a press release in 2019 on the City of Kingman's website. The problem is the city is arguably the largest water consumer affecting the Wallapai aquifer, and not only does the city, but this board continues to approve development within that aquifer. So the mayor of Kingman attended the local District 1 Precinct Committee Mojave County Republican meeting where I queried him on the status of that injection well, and he told me it's never been approved by ADEQ. I reached out to the Aquifer Protection Program person at ADEQ trying to find out why this has not been approved and why the city is arguably dumping what I estimate to be at least 500 million gallons a month onto the desert to evaporate and drastically depleting the aquifer. I have not received a response from ADEQ. I did make the chairman aware of this back in February. I kept expecting a report, a public report on the status. I didn't get one, so I looked into it myself. And I would just urge this board to not approve any more development in that aquifer area until this issue has been resolved or addressed. The other thing I would like to address before I get to the part on item 47 is also regarding the general plan proposal for Golden Valley. My objection to that is that we were told and we were promised that the Dorado development was to revert back to the original zoning, because much like the MEC plant, where they were told that, well, we'll give you this permission to do this, but only if you satisfy certain requirements. Those requirements were never met. The citizens signed, I don't know, probably close to 200 written petitions that were submitted saying that they wanted Dorado to revert back and to maintain 1 acre minimum lots in Golden Valley. And somebody, I'm not saying it was Mr. Robinson, but somebody went to Ships Estates on the other side of the highway, far away from Dorado, and collected what I hear was about 30 signatures saying, we support keeping Dorado, except staff screwed up, and that was supposed to, by law, revert back. The problem is we were told, and the previous incarnation of this board was told that it would revert back under the draft plan. Now they have decided, having reviewed the draft that's going to be submitted, it's not going to revert back. This opens you guys up to a lawsuit. I'm just saying you need to look at that. Dorado needs to revert back. It was picked up for pennies on the dollar in a tax lien sale. They knew what they were buying. No one is entitled to a rezone. You're only entitled to the zoning as you purchase a property. So please look at that. Please address it, because either staff lied to you or staff lied to us. But there are about 150 online signatures currently in favor of reverting Dorado back, and I'm sure that will come up. Okay, since I have 30 seconds left of this, and I would like to address item 47. I don't know how many people are aware of this, but I was a pet groomer for 35 years. I can no longer do it. I have severe arthritis in my hands. However, during that time, I was a charter member of the Southern California Professional Grooming Association. I was an award-winning groomer. I won the Super Zoo competition in the Standard Poodle class. I have placings in terriers and sporting breeds. I used to judge dog shows, travel around the country. I have groomed dogs in California, Oregon, Utah, Arizona, and Texas. I have groomed in Arizona, in Sedona, and in La Paz County and Quartzsite, and I have never, that's the 2-minute thing, I have never worked in a place, ever, that required a permit from a human health
You got 5
department.
minutes. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
We are adjourned.
Repeal it.